In this video, I'm going to show you 5 hacks for jumping into different lifelines for yourself. So, parallel universe, parallel reality. A lot of people love to look this stuff up. It's very fascinating to me. It's very fascinating to other people to have the ability to jump to a different lifeline for yourself. And, wake up and you're a new person with a new life, all that kind of thing. So we're going to give you 5 hacks today. How to do it? Sit tight. We'll get into it. Welcome back to another video. I'm Jen. All right, jumping to different life tracks for yourself, different timelines. There are ways to do this, and it's actually possible, but it's not necessarily how most people think. So when you're thinking of, you could call it quantum jumping or jumping into a new identity for yourself, or parallel reality surfing, whatever, reality transurfing, one of my favorite books. When you're talking about changing life track for yourself, lifelines, you have your lifeline where you are now, but for somebody who wants to, if you want to jump to a different lifeline, pretty much a different life for yourself, there are a few ways to do it. There's a few hacks that you can do, a few things to really remember. But the first thing is to remember that usually when we are shifting, when we are jumping to other life tracks for ourselves, they don't stray, the new lifeline doesn't stray too far from the original. Because if we were to jump and have a whole new identity, be a completely new person, it would feel very out of place for us. It would feel very uncomfortable. So a lot of times we don't do it. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's difficult to do because it requires pretty much an overhaul of the whole identity, whether it's like changing your name and moving and, dressing different, like becoming a whole new person. And most of the time we don't become whole new people. We just want a better life for ourselves. We just want a better life. So it's not about, the first thing to remember about, if you're trying to move into a parallel reality or a shift or a jump to a different life track for yourself, it's not about running away from your current reality. It's not about running away from anything. It's about transforming your current reality to something that feels better for you. Okay, so it's not like you're actually jumping, you're putting on a pair of sneakers and you're getting ready to jump over like the Grand Canyon, and on the other side is that whole new life. I mean, you could picture that for yourself if it helps you, but that's usually not the way. It's not so far off from the original, but you can keep shifting and shifting and shifting, in stages, and that makes it easier. The number one hack to jump to a different lifeline or life track for yourself, and this is the very first thing that should actually be done, is recognizing what limiting beliefs you have, first of all. What self-doubts do you have? What emotion do you sit with most of the time that holds you back from doing things, where you feel hesitant? See, you can't change your reality with the same thought patterns and the same beliefs. You can't expect to be a new identity for yourself with the same thoughts and the same actions and the same beliefs. If you keep doing the same things, you're going to keep getting the same results, right? So it's about looking at what limiting beliefs are holding you back. So once you've identified what the limiting beliefs are, it's confirming for yourself who you no longer want to be. Now you need to be really clear about this. Who do you no longer want to be? And after you do that, it's really finding clarity on who you want to be and asking yourself the question, are you willing to accept everything that comes along with this new reality for yourself? The good, the bad, the ugly. See, a lot of people will say, well, I want to be rich. Well, are you willing to either put the effort in, or are you willing to accept everything that comes along with being very rich? The responsibility or the pressure sometimes. Everything, not just the good stuff, everything. So you have to learn to accept that and get your subconscious brain to accept that before you can actually have it become a reality for you. Second hack, number 2 for shifting into a new lifeline for yourself, is to catch yourself when you're falling asleep. And I don't mean right before bed at night, I mean during the day. So we have this awful habit of falling asleep throughout the day. And our brains just go on autopilot. I mean, we know this. We are on autopilot most of the day where we just go through the motions. And we oftentimes don't wake ourselves back up. We just go through the motions, go through the motions. So the more you can catch yourself when you're about to fall asleep and fall into that autopilot mode, and the more consistently you do this on a daily basis, it gets easier and easier to keep catching yourself, where you can remain in this present moment where you're observing your thoughts and your actions. Because what happens when you fall into this autopilot zone, you lose control. You lose control of your thoughts and your actions, and your brain just goes in this mode where it's taking everything from your past, all your memories, from your old self, which is still your now self, right? And it keeps repeating the same things over and over again. And you're doing the same things over and over again. So to shift that, you need to first be aware and wake yourself up when you are in getting into those patterns where you're falling asleep again. But you have to do this on a consistent basis, because it's going to be very difficult, because we fall asleep and we go on autopilot throughout the day and we don't notice it. And but the more you can really train yourself to be aware when you are falling asleep, wake yourself back up and do it consistently, it'll get easier and easier over time. Number 3, mental rehearsal. So you've clarified who you want to be, and now it's actually being it. So your brain doesn't really know the difference between imagination and reality, because it sees an image in its head. It's like a memory. You see it in your head and your brain thinks it's real, because your brain doesn't differentiate. We differentiate when we're in our conscious state and we're, have our senses, taking things from our senses, and then our brain is interpreting it. But if you can mentally rehearse, and I know a lot of sports people do this, people in the Olympics, motivational speakers, they will mentally rehearse something before it's actually happened. So the more you mentally rehearse and you place your attention on that new person, that new self, that new identity for yourself, that new lifeline that you want for yourself, the more it starts to sink in and become a reality. And this should also be done on a consistent basis too, because your brain, of course, the unconscious part of you, is always going to want to revert back, and it's not going to believe you when you are telling it that you are somebody that it's not. But the more you mentally rehearse. It's like playing the piano. You need to rehearse. Playing the guitar, you need to rehearse. You need to rehearse shooting basketball, into the hoop. Otherwise, it's not going to feel natural. So mental rehearsal, you can do this through, meditation. You can do this through really, subliminal affirmations for yourself. Self-hypnosis. There are a number of ways that you can tap into kind of forming the picture in your head of who you want to be. And not just through meditation, but also in your waking state, just as you're going about your day, to pay attention to little moments in your day or in yourself where you are the new you, and acknowledging that. So if you find that you are, doing something, giving a speech or talking to somebody, and you feel really confident, then you need to acknowledge that confidence as the new self. So any little thing that you can pick out in your waking state, in your daily, day-to-day routine, that is reflective of who you want to be, your new self, your new identity for yourself, you need to acknowledge that and really kind of hype it up for yourself, and hone in on that and be like, yes, that is me. That is the new me. This is the new reality. It's, coming to fruition for me. Okay, number 4 is action. Action over wishful thinking. So there's a lot of people who say, well, I want to be rich, or I want to write a book, or I want to do this and do that, but they're not willing to put the effort in to actually get to that outcome. So you can't just sit on the couch and say to yourself that you want to write a book and then never touch a pen to paper, never write. So an object at rest stays at rest, an object in motion stays in motion, or whatever the saying goes. Also, repetition Boring repetition will yield more boring repetition. You know, you have to switch things up. So taking action actually it will open more doors for you. So if you don't take any sort of action, you're sitting on the couch, how many doors is that going to open for you? None. You can't just sit and wait for an opportunity. A lot of us wait for an opportunity to come our way. But if you take action, you put energy in motion, it opens more doors. Which leads me to number 5, the last hack for jumping lifelines for yourself, really shifting into that other reality for yourself, is disrupting the script, disrupting the current lifeline, doing something unexpected. So this goes along with action. So you have to take action, right, to open more doors. But the more you disrupt the script, you know, a lot of times we just go along and do things that are expected of us. So we have this almost like we're being carried along by the universe, and we're just following along in this script. And it almost expects us to do and respond in certain ways. But that's not going to really yield anything new. It's just going to be the same repetition over and over again. We go to the same places. We go to the same restaurants. We meet the same people every day. We talk to the same people every day. We go home and we watch the same things on TV and we do the same routine over and over again. This is not going to create any sort of shift in the energy or shift in our environment or our reality. So by disrupting the script, maybe saying yes when we normally say no, going somewhere new where we've never gone before, going out of our way to talk to somebody who we've never talked to before, going on a vacation to some, I don't know, foreign island or something where we never would expect ourselves to do, or, you know, standing up and speaking out in public we would never expect. So the more places and the more things, the more opportunities are around us. So the more we can actually shift, and we can jump to different lifelines because there's more probability happening. Okay, when we're doing the same things all the time, there's no probability. All the possible outcomes they're few and far between because they're not very far away from our normal boring routine. But if you really want to make the jump, you really want to make the shift, then you need to disrupt the current script and you need to do things that are unexpected, bang on pots and pans if you must, and really do things to shake things up, because that's going to open doors and doorways and pathways, and you're going to meet different people, and it's going to just wield the energy around, okay? And it's going to just throw everything for a loop. And you'll see that then you have more opportunity to bring yourself into a parallel life track for yourself, okay? More doors will open for you. So really the moral of this story is about engaging in your life rather than just sitting back and waiting for life to engage with you or opportunities to come to you, because they might never come to you. So it's about action, engaging with life, really branching out, creating all those different branches, which are going to create more opportunities and more potentials and more doorways and pathways to open up for you, you know, breaking the script. So yeah, shifting lifelines is not going to be a huge shift. I mean, not that you can't do that, but it's going to be very hard to do that for a lot of people. But it's about, you know, not always thinking that people have good luck, but knowing that you have the choice and you can decide, you know, which lifeline you want to shift to, if you want to shift to a higher one or a lower one. So when you see something that you would consider lucky coming into your life, really maximizing that out and really focusing and honing in on that and viewing that as a sign that things are opening up for you. So it's about, you know, our whole world, it's deceptive for us because of our 5 senses. We think that the world is happening outside of us, but really the world is all happening in our brain. Our brain is creating this internal world, and our brain makes it seem like everything is outside of us. So if you realize that our whole reality and what we're experiencing is all coming from our brain, then it gives you back the control. So sometimes it's about tweaking the perception a little bit. So if you realize that everything is coming from you and coming from your own brain, then you must have control over your reality and what you see, right? Yeah, so this is where you can begin to shift and to jump. So it's not about running away from anything, it's about transforming yourself and really evolving yourself into those higher states of being. Because essentially it's not about jumping over a cliff, it's about just feeling better, right? And having a life that feels better to you, feels better to your brain, because, you know, and your feelings and things like that. So with that being said, guys, I hope this was helpful. You know, a lot of people think shifting, parallel reality, it's very, it's peculiar to some people. So they're very interested in it because they think, oh, well, what's the quick fix to getting out of my current life situation? But again, it's not about getting out of your current life situation. It's about just making a choice and knowing that you have the ability, nothing outside of you is going to shift you or take you away from where you are now. It's all about you, your internal thoughts, your internal belief systems, recognizing what those belief systems are, taking action, realizing that you can't just sit around and do wishful thinking and wait for things to come to you. You actually have to put some effort in and to get there, you know, and then that makes the difference between somebody who gets there and somebody who doesn't. So I hope this was helpful, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you thought, and subscribe if you have not done so. I put out a video every single morning. I will see you on tomorrow's video. Have a great day, everyone. Peace.